Great. Thank you very much, Gwen, and good morning to all of you. It certainly is a pleasure to be here at this point of the market after we've seen a nice sell-off. I do agree with Gwen on the big picture of Trump. I think we all were anticipating as gold resource investors that he'd be good for gold. You'll see that next year once he's in office. This reaction here is more of a preamble of people not sure of what's going to happen. Auryn Resources is a junior gold exploration company. We trade on the Toronto Stock Exchange on the main board there. And what we are is we're a product of our own success. In the last 11 years, we've found a 5 million ounce gold mine, turned into a 10 million ounce company, which is now called Asanko Gold, that's ramping up to produce almost 500,000 ounces a year. As a stock performer in the last bull market, that company went as high as $9 per share. It trades at $4.50 today. It's a tremendous success for us and for a lot of investors. We then went on to create a company called Auryn Resources, and Auryn was formed at the top of the last market, so we got to endure the 4 years of downturn that all the stocks were suffering, but we pulled off a very big win. We sold an exploration asset in Mexico for $205 million to Agnico Eagle amidst that bear market. That was a tremendous feat, and so we kind of took those two experiences and we thought, you know, how can we do this better, and what's our foresight with the market? Well, we both anticipated, my partner and I, that the market would improve dramatically this year and the years to come. So we went out and we were aggressive to acquire some of the best exploration assets on the planet, primarily in Canada and Peru. We're very geopolitically stable, having done business in Africa as well as Mexico. We were sensitive. We didn't want to take country risk as much as we had in the past. We're more interested in geological risk. That being said, Auryn is the product of assets being purchased, but also intel. We've gotten some of the best geologists we could find on the planet. A lot of them are from majors, but they get to work with us without the red tape they would have with majors. So we put together a portfolio that has a very dynamic approach, and it's, as Gwen said, it's like 10 companies in one, but we're going to drill all of that. Our vision is value. We want to create value for shareholders. We're going to do that through growth, which is going to be fueled by discovery. That's the #1 performance you can have in a junior resource stock. As far as optionality, when you have multiple assets in a company and a portfolio, if one's not working out right away, the other one can. You mitigate risk. But at the same time, if you start to have multiple discoveries, which is what we think we'll have going forward in the next year, then you can actually sell your company 3 times over, kind of what Ross Beatty did with Lumina Copper. As these things get mature to discovery, you can sell them one at a time or spin them out or sell the company as a whole. The last thing is execution. We have a really strong balance. You'll see it in a few slides here between marketing, finance, corporate, as well as, most importantly, a very strong technical team. That balance is essential to raising money, to executing on the technical side, and to making sure that the market can appreciate what we're doing. Moving ahead, this is one of the most important slides that you see in any presentation because it determines the value. This is our capital structure. We have 66 million shares out. Management owns 18%, which is increasing every month that we're able to buy our own shares. But we've been busy. In the last 12 months, we've had a decent performance. We were $1 per share this time last year. We're at about $2.50 per share after a high of $4 per share in the summer. A couple things to note there. We've made several acquisitions this summer, predominantly in Peru. We did undertake a big drill program in Committee Bay and an even more extensive exploration program to tackle one of our major projects, which we'll talk about in a moment. But pay attention to the rally to $4 per share in the summertime. That was all predicated on an exploration program at our Committee Bay project this summer. What's changed going into next year is we're going to start much sooner with drilling in Peru, and drilling is going to be year-round. Right through every project, we're going to drill about 55,000 meters next year. Moving ahead, we've performed in the last 2 years with this company. Not only just assembling this amazing exploration technical team, we've gone out there and we've built this portfolio, and you'll see a bit of a flash on it. I don't have time to go through each project in detail, but I'll give you the high-level look. The drilling that we're going to do, a lot of guys are going out and acquiring several different assets. We're going to drill every single project we have, and we're going to have our technical team. It's big enough to go through each one so that multiple layers of data are done before, which will set us up for major discovery on at least 2 or 3 out of the 14 targets that we'll drill next year. Myself and Sean Wallace are the 2 co-founders of our group. It started with Keegan, it went on to Caden, and now it's Auryn. We've obviously built out our team over time. We've attracted some great people, such as Michael Henriksen, our chief geologist, who brought in a lot of his former Newmont personnel that he worked with there. The guy to point out there is Antonio Ribas. He was the chief geologist for Newmont. He was the VP of geosciences for BHP. These are brilliant technical minds. Dan McCoy obviously led us through Caden and Keegan's discoveries. But then we also have a strong market finance entity in terms of guys like Daryl Rebeck, a former chairman of, or a vice president of Canaccord, as a major broker there, financing and juniors for the last 15 years. Russell Starr was an institutional broker in Toronto. He ran an institutional sales desk. These guys are on the road, as well as Jay Adelar, who's in the room somewhere here at the back, our manager of investor relations. They're on the road almost every month because we're taking on big projects, we have big budgets, and we need to tell our story as we go out there and drill these things. The technical team, I don't have time to go through each individual person. There's a lot of people on this slide. They all have extremely impressive track records. They found several million ounces of gold, but they all have unique specialties, unique experiences. And the big thing for Sean and I was to give these guys room to use the left side of their brain, the creative side, which is really what drives discovery. No red tape that you get in a major. If they like something a lot or liked it a lot in their career at the major but weren't able to acquire it because of the big company thing, they get to do it with us. So the maneuverability and the creativity that our exploration team can use is incredible. And then the different disciplines of the geology that they can apply, the layers that they apply before we go in and do our drilling, it's incredible. It increases efficiency to discovery and efficiency of cost of making a discovery. So our vision is grow through discovery. Everything that we're going to drill is discovery based. We're not looking to delineate resources. Much like Caden, we sold the company after 100 drill holes, no resource. Let's talk just a bit about Committee Bay. 300-kilometer long greenstone belt, high grade from one end of it to the other. We did the last 2.5 years, we've reduced the drilling cost from $1,000 a meter to $250 a meter. We went ahead and we explored 85% of the belt. We've applied several layers of data from till sampling, geophysics, boulder counting all the rusty boulders, mapping across the entire belt. We found 7 major targets that we're going to drill next year. There'll be a 25,000 meter program that starts next summer, but the prize is real big, and there's already a resource of 1.2 million ounces of 8 grams per ton. That resource is impressive, but it gets bigger. We've drilled it at depth this summer. We see the grade goes down to depth, but we haven't even got to drilling it along strike yet. We are really confident that we're going to make at least 1 or 2 major discoveries next year at Committee Bay. Moving on to Homestake, this is a project that we acquired this summer. It's 1 million ounces of 9 grams gold equivalent. On Monday morning, you're going to see metallurgical results with a very, very, very spectacular concentrate that comes out of there. It's very rich. It's a very profitable deposit as is. We think it gets a lot bigger just on the brownfields exploration, the conservative arm wave. But beyond that, we think that there's tremendous golden triangle exploration to go with it. In Peru, which I'm going to talk a little bit more about just because we're going to be drilling it in March, we have an oxide, a skarn, and porphyry targets. And one thing you'll see across our entire portfolio, if you don't see grade, you're going to see scale and size. But all of our projects have that kind of major look. Pointing out the map where we're in southern Peru, Sombrero is in the Skarn Belt. It's about 200 kilometers west of the Las Bambas discovery or mine that was sold from Xstrata to Glencore for $5.6 billion last bull market. That was a major Skarn discovery. You'll see a slide or two in a moment on Sombrero. The grades are incredible. It's never been drilled. And all the other hallmarks of technically is looking like it's very similar to what Las Bambas was. Huillacoyo and Baños del Indio are 2 major epithermal targets in the southern portion. They'll get drilled in the second part of next year, but let's just bring you real quick through Sombrero because I'm limited with time. High-grade gold and copper, let's look at it. 2 grams gold, 4.5% or 4.3% copper, almost 6 grams gold and 9% copper. Those are incredible grades of gold and copper on a skarn belt with a major skarn deposit not too far away. This is a close-up map. It gets very technical quickly, but pay attention to the blue and the orange colors being the limestone in the red colors, and then the intrusives in the blue. And what we're going to drill when we go drill this in March, we're going to draw those dotted black lines that you see there along the actual the contacts, and look at all those grades that are just from some light exploration work that's been done. Every time we've gone back to this property, you'll see it soon. We find more and more outcrop, but the numbers are very impressive, and it gives us the confidence that it could be a major skarn discovery in Peru. Moving ahead, this is our schedule. This is going to be how the drilling kind of goes. We start in March at Sombrero. We move on to Committee Bay and Homestake, and then we go on to Peru back in the fall. We will be nonstop drilling. We'll have 9 rigs on several different projects. And moving ahead, just for the sake of time, we're going to drill 14 different targets. 7 at Committee Bay, we'll drill 3 at Homestake, and then we'll drill 4 in Peru. The Homestake drilling is the least highest risk, but it also has some very big speculative blue sky drilling. So there is going to be some real good meat that comes out next year. Committee Bay, we've learned so much from the last 2 years of working there. We think Committee Bay will be outstanding. And then Peru is it's a country with amazing endowment. The deposits down there that are being discovered are massive. And that's really what you're going to see is scale. The value creation through discovery, it's what we're doing. Every drill hole that we do is discovery-based, meaning it's not delineation. And then there's going to be steady news flow. Once we start drilling in March, it's ongoing drill news. But between now and March, you're going to see Committee Bay results, you're going to see metallurgical news from Homestake, and then you're going to see all the surface work we've already started on in Peru, building to a major drill program in Sombrero. And lastly, the optionality we have through our diverse portfolio, it mitigates risk. If one project is taking longer to come online with a big discovery, you have other ones that you're drilling. At the same time, there are different corporates interested in different projects. Some are interested in us as a whole, but we're not going to fall or fail on one miss on one project. We're not your typical junior where if you miss on one target, your stock goes down to 50 cents. You have about 13 other targets to go drill. So there's a lot of room for a lot of upside. And the last point I'll make is a very deep technical team. And I started my career working with a gentleman by the name of Roman Shkolenka, and he was one of the smartest geologists I had a chance to work with. And he drove me towards the technical aspect. I've always liked the financial marketing end of it, but I never realized how important it was until we started to have our successes. What we've done with his technical team is outstanding in building this portfolio. If you come by and listen to some of our targets at our booth later, you'll see why. But that's really what's going to drive our success. Everything we do is technically driven. We're not a junior with 5 or 6 different projects or targets that one of them gets drilled each year. We're drilling everything. We're going mainstream. We think the gold market's going to be tremendous next year. We think once Trump's in office, you'll start to feel that per Gwen's nice comments. But we're out there to go do the massive exploration program, drill all these great ideas by some very smart technical people, and monetize that in this market. Thank you very much.